Welcome to the penultimate meeting of the season for the BRSCC Fiesta Championship, and as you can see, the weather has taken a massive turn for the worse. We're here at Croft in North Yorkshire and the cars are getting ready for race one. It's a combined grid, so all four classes out at once, and here is that grid lineup with Richard John Neal. Richard, this weather's not going to get better anytime soon.
Certainly is going to be a tricky race, Scott. David Nye and lead Andy Sadler in front row from Nathan Edwards and Josh Gollin. Danny Harrison and Jamie going next from Ryan Beck and Sam Priest. Nick Sanderson and Ryan Falconbridge, row 5. Row 6, the Kents, Lewis and Bradley. Then Richard Dawson and Simon Horrobin. Mark Falconbridge and Nat Gollin from Jamie White and John Cooper. Tom Hutchins and Stuart Roberts. Then Jack Yule, Penny Jones, Sean Banks, Tim Bennett, Derek Robinson, Chris Horn and Kieran White completing the grid. David Nye, Class C pole. Class D pole, Jamie White. Class B, Sean Banks, and Class A lone runner Tim Bennett. Well, it looks to me as if Josh Gollin's got a clear run from the outside of row 2 in the 77 car. David Nye, therefore, with nobody alongside him, makes a very good start indeed. Gollin in white with the blue stripes. Then Nathan Edwards in black immediately behind. Right behind him, the white bottom, red top car is Danny Harrison. Jamie going on the outside of the black car, running a little bit wide. There was Bradley Kent, who is coming back on track, tags Ryan Beck, inadvertent, but Ryan Beck won't thank him for that nonetheless. So the youngster in his second meeting, Bradley Kent, causing that. So good start from the Class Ds, and you saw Thomas Hutchins busy chasing there, but it's David Nye out front from Josh Gollin in second place. Jamie going now in third, then the number 19 car in orange, the Specialised Motorsport livery. In fact, we got two of them in shot for one go. The leading one is defending Class C champion, I should say reigning champion really, Sam Priest, because didn't join the championship until the Rockingham meeting this year, so not really in a position to defend the championship, but reigning champion. Let's not get too bogged down in semantics as the leaders go up into sunny, and Danny Harrison goes down the inside in red and white, and Simon Horrobin will be looking to follow through. But David Nye is establishing a good lead here from Josh Gollin. He may have been on his own on the front row, but got away well. Josh Gollin in second, Jamie going up into third, and then having a little look down the inside line is Sam Priest. So Priest with 2 wins under his belt already so far this year, and one other podium as well at Snetterton. Got back on the pace, back into the championship very quickly, as drivers of his calibre tend to do. And he's got Danny Harrison, race winner, behind him. He's got Jamie going, also race winner, in front of him as well. And if you look at the statistics for this year, the amount of different race winners we've had, the BRSCC have got the formula exactly right. Very competitive championship this year in all of the classes. Now, we've only got Tim Bennett in Class A. I reckon he can sew up the championship this weekend. He's on 471 points, up ahead of Colin Newbold on 341, so a cap of 130. Needs to be 150 clear as Danny Harrison looks at the inside line and makes contact. Well, from Harrison's point of view, that was door handling. He's off on the rallycross track. He's going to try and rejoin. Now, that was Simon Horrobin going back past, so we've still got David Nye out front. There's Horrobin in the 14 car, so where has Sam Priest gone? Here's a replay, and you can see the two of them fighting over the same bit of track. Off goes Danny Harrison, and a spin round for the 19 car. So that's what happened to Sam Priest. A lot of damage on that car. So Sam he's got a fair old limp round to get back into the pit lane. As he watched the 44 car again taking out another machine. Bradley Kent this time takes out the luckless Nathan Edwards. And well, 2 cars that, without a doubt, we've seen him tag 2 cars on the rear end. They've both got out. And Bradley learning his trade the hard way, and also at the expense of other drivers, sadly, at the moment. So he'll just be hoping for a better remaining 2 races, and indeed a better Donington Park, which we'll talk about later in the programme, as the safety car is being scrambled, ready for the recovery of Sam Priest's car, which is on the back straight, heading right the way down the back straight, long way away from Tower Corner. But this is bad news for David Nye, who'd built up a pretty good lead. You can see there is an awful lot of damage there on Sam Priest's car. It is on the rallycross track, but it's in harm's way, really. So a good call by the organisers to scramble the safety car and make sure that everybody is safe, particularly in these conditions, because, oh, and red flag. So the race being stopped, because it's the very early stages, then we will have a full restart with David Nye once again starting on pole position here. But a good call by the organisers. Ready for the restart of the first of 3 races here at Croft, courtesy of the British Racing and Sports Car Club, the BRSCC. 5-second board is shown. The organisers won't want to hang around too much, and neither will David Nye on pole position. Josh Gollin to his outside makes a pretty decent start of it as well. Jamie Going is in the mix, being followed by Danny Harrison, but Danny, I think, is going to be passed. And indeed he is, side by side into Clervaux. Super start by Gollin, who got very well and sideways there for Jamie White, the green Z-Tech S. He's the championship leader in the Z-Tech S's. And I'll try and talk about championship points as the meeting progresses, because we've got some very close championships going on this year. The blue 76 is Derek Robinson, looking up the inside line of Chris Horn, the black and green car, as the race leader 77 Josh Gollin comes through. David Nye fighting Jamie Going for second place. There's Danny Harrison in the Brisky racing car, and as we heard last time out at Silverstone, Danny very grateful to Brisky Racing and Mutation Motorsport, his team, for getting him out at very short notice, as it were, really, or quick turnaround to get the car built in time for Silverstone last time out. And he's looking at the back end of Silverstone race winner Nat Gollin. Silverstone, very dramatic meeting, and Harrison puts a move on the Silverstone winner down the inside very neatly indeed. Good clean racing between the pair of them, and car disappearing off the circuit, and Harrison goes through. Looks as if it might be drying slightly now. Skies certainly look a little bit brighter. So David Nye, championship leader as far as Class C is concerned, will drop 2 scores. He won't drop the Brands Hatch opening round. You might remember got him involved in a schmozzle on lap 1 of the first race of the year on the Saturday at Brands Hatch. But in addition to that race, he's got to lose a 11 and a 13th place. Lee Dendy Sadler, who's about 40 odd points behind, will drop 2 14th places. Lewis Kent's third in the championship, doesn't drop anything. Simon Horrobin and Danny Harrison don't drop anything as well. There's been quite a few non-finishes in those classes. Class D is probably the most complex one, championship points-wise, with Jamie White going through shot there in green. He's had a retirement and a non-start, but will drop a 4th. Stuart Roberts, who's in the Simply Car Sales car, will drop a 7th, a 4th and a 6th. And like Tom Hutchins hasn't had any retirements. They've both been very, very consistent indeed. Hutchins runs 5th in the championship behind John Cooper. Sorry, John Cooper's in the Simply Car Sales car. Jack Yule, 3rd in the championship, drops a 5th place. So there are lots of... There is John Cooper in Simply Car Sales. So apologies to Stuart Robbins, who runs in the 00 car. And he's got 3 drop scores, so we'll have to keep an eye on those scores as we get to our last round of the year, which is at Donington Park, the weekend of the 15th of October. So keen racing between the 4 classes. Shame we've only got the 1 Class A entry this weekend. Champion-elect Tim Bennett, and Class A, of course, the oldest of the classes. We watched Jack Ewell up ahead of Richard Dawson, the Kidderminster racer. And Jack Ewell, who you might remember won all 3 races at Silverstone. We had separate class races at Silverstone, and superb job by him as we are on board with the 00 car of Stuart Robbins, the man who lies 2nd in the championship, 9 points adrift of Jamie White. But as I say, we'll get spanked on drop scores, so he'll be one of the drivers when it comes to driver meetings and things like that, might advocate the idea of not having drop scores. And many of these drivers, of course, to move up to the likes of Clio Cup, which dropped its drop scores this year, every point counting, and that on for a decider incidentally this weekend as well. And I wonder if we're going to see more drivers move up into Clio Cup from the Fiesta Championship. It's certainly, this is very much a good training ground. We've seen so many fine drivers come through. Mike Bushell, who's poised to win this year's Clio Cup, of course an ex-Fiesta driver, although Mike never actually won a race in Fiestas. His first car racing win was in Clio Cup. So again, goes to show you how competitive it is, but also what a great training ground it is as well, as we continue on board with the 00 car coming up into Tower, the very fast right-hand bend. Ryan Beck still going and dicing there with Sean Banks. Sean, the Class B Championship leader, up ahead of Derek Robinson. 28 points between the two. Really, realistically, the championship is between those two drivers. Derek Robinson in the blue 76, as you can see there. So coming down towards us, the 16 car, Tim Bennett, champion-elect in that class, and behind him Ryan Beck, and there is Chris Horn in the treble 3. Chris's third meeting of the year, third in the championship in Class B as well, so a little bit of drift points wise, but enjoying his racing here at Croft this weekend nonetheless, as they come out of the Jim Clark S's and head down towards sunny in and sunny out. We would expect to see Ryan Beck on his recovery make relatively light work of the Class A car, the 1800cc mid-90s Mark III Fiesta, but instead Chris Horn getting stuck in and having a look as well. So a good inter-class battle going on here as they head down towards the complex once again. These guys just inside the top 20 overall of this race, which is still headed at the moment by Josh Gollin, looking for his first win in the category. Will he make it? Well, join us after the break to see. Welcome back to Croft Circuit. We're looking at Stuart Robbins in the 00 car, and Stuart busy at the moment challenging John Cooper for second place in Class D, the Zetec S category, which is currently led by championship leader Jamie White in car number 45. Down the home straight they go and in towards Clervaux. Let's see if we can catch the green car anywhere in shot. Might get an idea of how far ahead Jamie White is. There he is in green going through shot. So Jamie White got Lewis Kent, I think, immediately behind. The another race winner for this year was the championship leader, Lewis Kent, but now currently down in third position. He goes only 1 point behind Lee Dendy Sadler and may well get that position back, but Lee doesn't drop any scores in the beg your pardon, Lewis doesn't drop any scores in the championship, Lee will. So on drop scores, there is Lee Dendy Sadler in the 11 car. So at the moment, Lewis Kent will overtake Lee Dendy Sadler on gross scored points as we go on board with the 00 car of Stuart Robbins, who's got lots of drop scores as well. And the championship, this round, of course, mid-September. We've got a month or so to prepare for Donington Park. And here comes the 00 car having a look. Lee Dendy Sadler should have been on the front row of the grid, but as you saw from the start of the race, wasn't there. But in the mix, scoring points, and Lee, I think, will be probably counting the cost of those lost points in this one and the drop scores. Well, David Nye drops a few scores as well. With David Nye's drop scores, I think Lewis Kent and David probably on net scores probably fairly close together. It is very complicated to work out drop scores, particularly when you've got potential 3 that you can drop. It is to be applauded. Although, now let's get back to the race in hand. Josh Gollin in 77 has had a plethora of second place finishes so far this year and could be on for a win, but it's very complicated because they're right in the mix with the Class B runners. And Gollin in white looking for his first win. He's going to pass the 84 car of Sean Banks, which he does. David Nye is right with him though as well. So they're working their way through the traffic and Gollin has managed to clear them, but David Nye is right with him. We're going to have a grandstand finish here between these two. There's a gap back of about 10 seconds to Danny Harrison, who runs in third place at the moment, dicing well with Jamie going. And Josh Gollin, are we going to see another first-time Gollin win? We saw one for Nat at Silverstone, and it looks like we might do it here, but the vastly experienced David Nye, the man from Horsham, the championship leader, just one retirement under his belt so far this year, is looking to chase him down. Josh Gollin not in contention championship-wise because he's had 3 retirements, a non-classification in round 6, and didn't attend at Brands Hatch to race. But he's looking good, keeping it relatively defensive now. But David Nye looks on the outside run and might go for the flick back. But from where I'm looking, it's going to be Josh Gollin to take his first win in the BRSCC Fiesta Championship. And it comes here at Croft in race 1 of the weekend to applause from the pit lane. There's the checker. Gollin takes the win. David Nye second from Danny Harrison and Jamie Going. Then Nat Gollin, Nick Sanderson, Simon Horrobin, Nathan Edwards, Bradley Kent, Jamie White wrap up the top 10. White winning Class D. Lee Dendy saddle next from Lewis Kent. John Cooper second in D from Stuart Roberts. Jack Yule, then Richard Dawson, Tom Hutchins, Mark Falconbridge, Ryan Beck 19th. Tim Bennett wins Class A. Chris Horn wins Class B ahead of Derek Robinson and Sean Banks.
Well, Josh, that was a very up and down day for race 1, but you come out on top.
Yeah. Well, it's a track I've never been to before, and you know, we spent Friday testing in the dry. Unfortunately for me, actually, I had a few laps to learn the track in the wet before the red flag at the first start of the race. So I was lucky enough to follow David Nye in that one. I think he must have been here before or something, because he's been very, very quick here. Yeah, and then just got the break at the start, and David fell to third. And I was just looking at my mirrors, looking at the gap increasing, and then David finally got into second, and he switched it on a bit and just catching me, and then by the last lap he was on me, and we had to find our way through a gaggle of Class Bs who were fighting, and then David was right on my bumper, and I was very, very nervous, but managed to keep it on the road, managed to block off all the overtaking opportunities and take the win.
And that's pole for race 2.
Yeah, we'll see what the weather does for tomorrow, but wet or dry, we'll be pushing really hard. I've just got to say a massive thank you to the Grip Pro team, my dad, my mechanic Ross. Without all of those guys, we wouldn't be able to be here, so much appreciated to them. Also, big thank you to George Yeomans, who sponsored my tyres for this weekend, so big thanks to him as well.
Great job, well done.
Thank you.
Well, Daniel, looked good for you in 3rd place, but got a bit hairy at the end there on the last corner.
Yeah, it was a good race throughout with Jamie, probably one of my favourites of the year. It was a good clean battle throughout, and there's no contact, we were just swapping places. But yeah, it got very close on the last corner where I got stuck behind the Class A, and lost my bumper trying to find the way past because he kept swerving throughout. But no matter, we still kept 3rd place, and that's the end of the day.
The car's looking pretty strong now, it's back on form.
Yeah, definitely, the car's back on form. It's set up perfectly thanks to Mutation Motorsport, and also Brisky Racing for supplying me the car through sponsorship. But yeah, yesterday we had an engine blow up, but we managed to sort one for the race, and although it's not the best, we're still getting up there.
Fantastic job, well done.
Thank you.
Well, as you can see, the dark clouds are still with us here at Croft Circuit for race 2 on Sunday afternoon, and it remains dry for the moment, as it could all change as we saw in race 1. Now we're going to have a chat to a couple of the championship contenders, mainly one of them, which is Danny Harrison in Class C. He's got a brand new car for the 2nd weekend in a row. Let's have a quick chat. He was 3rd on the podium for the 1st race. Danny, how's the car looking for race 2 now in the dry conditions?
Car's looking good, it's set up really well. As we've done the testing on Friday, but our only issue is the engine side of it, as we blew one up on Friday and we don't know how strong this one is in the dry, but we'll see how it goes and work from there.
It's just a case of just going and grab as many points as you can and get yourself set up for Donington.
Yeah, exactly. We're just going to go out, do our best, see what we can get out of this weekend. Hopefully we can get another podium, but if not, we'll try to settle for a top 5 finish and then work our way towards Donington to go for the win again.
It's going to be tricky into turn 1.
Oh, definitely going to be tricky into turn 1. It's very tight, and basically it's got to be on the inside and make sure you get round nicely. If not, your race is over at turn 1.
Good stuff, best of luck.
Thank you.
Good stuff. Now he's the one in Class C to watch out for, but also there is a battle in Class D, and he's actually the man that leads the championship overall, and that is Jamie White. And you can't really miss his car because it's bright green down here in car 45. I think it's actually Lamborghini green, I'm pretty sure, somewhere. And I'm going to have a quick chat with him to see what he's feeling, because of course he actually leads the championship in Class D and overall, and they're all going for that touring car test at the end of the year. So Jamie, it's looking pretty good. That was another class win for Class D. You're sort of taking steps towards that title, aren't you?
Yeah, we keep pushing those results. Hopefully we can, we're off the front, hopefully we can make another good result today.
So I guess today it will be just 2 more races and more of the same, won't it?
Fingers crossed, that's what we're trying for.
It's never that simple, is it?
No, I'm sure there's people behind me that are going to make it very difficult for me.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
Right, let's see how Danny, Jamie and the rest of the cars get on. Here's Richard with the full grid for race 2.
Thanks, Scott. Can't wait for race 2. Neither can Josh Gollin on the front row of the grid, with David Nye, Danny Harrison and Jamie Going next from Nat Gollin and Nick Sanderson. Simon Horrobin and Nathan Edwards row 4. Lee Dendy Sander and Lewis Kent next from Richard Dawson and Mark Falconbridge. Ryan Beck and Bradley Kent are next from Ryan Falconbridge and Sam Priest returning to the tracks. Jamie White on pole for Class D from John Cooper. Then it's Stuart Robbins and Jack Yill, Tom Hutchins and Tim Bennett, Chris Horn and Derek Robinson, followed by Sean Banks, Penny Jones and Kieran White, completing a bumper grid as ever. Croft circuit 2.1 miles, so an opportunity for all the cars to race together. Lights already on and out they go. And is it going to be a double for Josh Gollin? Is he going to be the first Gollin brother to get a second career win in the Fiesta Championship? Danny Harrison was looking up the inside line, but it's David Nye that gets away well. Jamie Going on the inside. Josh Gollin is in third place as they go through Clervaux. Hold on to your hats. Big field of cars, and Clervaux generally means somebody off in the gravel, but the driving standards top notch there. There's the double O car being chased by the 16, the Class A machine of Tim Bennett, who now championship wise, of course, because there are less than 6 starters in class, Tim Bennett effective. We don't know that there might not be 6 starters at Donington Park, so potentially 150 points available at Donington, but when there are less starters in class, there are 38 points for a win, 34 for second place, so harder in essence for Tim to extend that gap, although he has done now with 38 points in race number 1. Effectively, by my reckoning, has pretty much sewn up the championship, because there aren't any other Class A drivers who can get within the potential 150 points of him in this year's championship. But anyway, going back to the race out front, David Nye goes through shot from Jamie Going and Josh Gollin. And Lee Dendy Sadler gets an opportunity, not in the traffic this time round, but having a dice with Danny Harrison in car number 18. Nick Sanderson in blue, always been a bit of a star to me, Nick Sanderson, and raced in the Scottish Championship for some time. He's passed there by Danny Harrison. Neat textbook move here at Croft down the inside line, and the race car consultants machine will chase Harrison back down, so it's RCC versus Mutation Motorsports. They go past the trademark yellow and green barriers here on the outside line. Sanderson's going to have a look down the inside line. Lee Dendy Sadler right in behind as well, another race winner. Simon Horrobin in the mix as well. Nathan Edwards is there in 21. I've got to admire Nathan Edwards because although I've rubbed it in, not meaning to rub it in, but I've said a lot about Nathan having rotten luck this year, he's kept on with it. And, you know, hats off to him for continuing to do that. And not many drivers would carry on and buckle down and get on with it, but Nathan has, and it's all going to stand him in very good stead, because believe you me, motor racing is up and down, and what goes around comes around. He'll have some decent luck before too long, hopefully next year, when we might even see him as a major championship contender, as he should have been this year. On board with Simon Horrobin, another driver well capable of challenging for championship honours, but for a string of retirements, rounds 10, 11, 12 and 13. Frustrating Simon Horrobin. And Snetterton, miserable meeting for him, but David Nye out front from Jamie Going in P2, and this race settling down quite nicely now. There is Simon Horrobin up ahead at the moment of Nathan Edwards, and then Nick Sanderson immediately ahead in blue, chasing Lee Dendy Sadler. Welcome back to Croft Circuit for our second of 3 races, and a mighty challenge going on here as Josh Gollin goes on the grass to try and pass Jamie Going. He's trying to get down the inside, but Going barely giving him room, but Gollin was having a look. Super scrap then going on for second place. David Nye still the race leader, with Jamie Going in second position. All of these drivers that we're looking at have won races, and as I mentioned in part 1 of today's programme, the number of different drivers. Got a driving standards flag going out there, track limits, which I believe might be for Danny Harrison. But so many different winners in the championship this year. It's been an incredible season, and probably one of the most competitive years, particularly in Class C, that I can remember. And we look back, Sam Priest, of course, winning it last year. JJ Ross, champion in 2015. David Elsley, 14. Andrew Foley, Jason Cooper, David Grady. Jeremy Gumbly was champion in 2010. David Elsley won it the year before as well, double champion. Ben Roper in 2008 and Daniel Rose in 2007, the inaugural Class C champion. But this, to my money, I think in terms of race wins, the most competitive year we've had. Danny Harrison still running in that third place. You can see the white and red car in the mix as well, but here we come with David Nye clear, and he's probably grateful for the battling pair for second place. And Josh Gollin having a very good look at the moment over Jamie Going. So it's a Sussex man leading, Northamptonshire second, and third place the Surrey-based driver who remembers the BMW County Championship going back in the 70s. Showing my age a little bit there, but the moment it's 2-1 to the south over the Midlands as far as the top three goes. The demographic of this championship, incident, we do have drivers from all over. I suppose by and large the bias might be slightly towards the south of England for these drivers, but obviously, as you can see from this weekend's action up here in North Yorkshire, the calendar is varied. We started at Brands Hatch. We traditionally used to end at Brands Hatch, but this year not part of the festival week, Formula Ford Festival weekend, which is going to be a little bit of a change. But on the other hand, we're going to be at Donington Park. So Donington, a great venue, and very often the scenario for BRSCC finals, and we're looking forward to that. There is John Cooper in the 88 car. So John chasing Jamie White, the Class D Championship leader, and good battle on there as ever for Class D. And Jamie Going, you can see that battle-scarred 46 has caught David Nye, and he's looking down the inside line to challenge for the lead. David Nye's got the outside line. We're coming up on some Class B traffic once again, and David Nye is still there. Jamie Going is all over the back of him. Now, how are they going to? They nip past. Great behaviour then from Sean Banks, who is the leader of the Class B Championship standings. Well, Jamie Going working hard to try and get on terms with the race leader. Problem there, I think, for Lewis Kent. Let's see what Jamie Going can do about David Nye out front. They're coming through the complex up into the hairpin. Jamie not going for the move there, but you can see taking a slightly tighter line on the exit and maybe thinking about having a dive around the outside line. Nye gets a bit more momentum with that wider exit, and they go across the stripe once again and onto the last lap. So David Nye leads, but under a lot of pressure going into Clervaux from Jamie Going. This is lap 12, and this one going the full distance without any safety car intervention, which the drivers will be pleased, very pleased about. Conditions much, much better today. And here is Jamie again into the chicane. Did he clip a tyre? He's going around and a half spin and comes to a halt in the tyres. I think that might have been where he clipped the tyre on the exit of the chicane. Jamie Going. Now, has he broken the car? Jamie gets going again. It looks like it's curtains, sadly. It was going to be a strong second place, if not a win. And David Nye was under pressure from Jamie Going. So it's David Nye now from Josh Gollin in second place. It's going to be another podium for Josh. But David Nye is out front and looking to bag a second win of the season. Remember, he won race 3 at Silverstone. And very much the man coming to form at the moment with second, first, second, and now potentially another first in his sequence of race wins. Tim Bennett immediately ahead, but David Nye, championship leader, has been very consistent this year. And the DW Nye back car goes into, look at that, no pressure at all, wide line into the hairpin. Josh Gollin trying to hunt him down, and these two were close together at the end of race 1. They're close together again at the end of race number 2 here of the 3, but it's David Nye that wins the second race of the weekend. Josh Gollin is in second. Third place is going to go to Nick Sanderson, because Danny Harrison has a time penalty. Josh Gollin has one as well, but Josh's track position giving him second. So it's Nye from Gollin, Sanderson, Danny Harrison fourth, then Sam Priest, Simon Horrobin, Ryan Beck from Bradley Kent, Richard Dawson and Nathan Edwards in 10th. Jamie White next from John Cooper and Stuart Roberts, Jack Ewell from Tom Hutchins and Nat Gollin, then Mark Falconbridge, Penny Jones, Tim Bennett. Next from Sean Banks, then Ryan Falconbridge, Derek Robinson, Chris Horn and Kieran White completing the finishers. Class winners, Class A, Tim Bennett.
David, second race winner of the season,
Sean
and I think
Banks
that for the championship was well needed.
Yeah, points-wise, it's yeah, definitely well needed. Hard race. Jamie kept me honest all the way until I think about the last lap. He disappeared on the chicane. I think one of the bollards had moved and he disappeared. But yeah, right on my tail all the way.
And pole for race 3 now.
Yeah, if we can get it off the line again, that's a problem. Josh is sort of role reversal, if you like. It's a bit difficult getting off sometimes, but yeah, it's what it is.
Best of luck, well done.
Thank you.
With Josh a first and a second so far, it's been a pretty fruitful weekend for you.
Yeah, going well so far. I've just got my fingers crossed it all goes well in the final race and it'll be a pretty perfect weekend, I think.
You had a good battle up there chasing David and Jamie. How was that out there?
Yeah, it was really tough. I was disappointed with my start. I got too much wheel spin and I was worried that more than 2 people were going to come through, but no, David and Jamie slipped through, tucked in behind them, and I think they just had a 10th or 2 on me, and I was in the tow, keeping up, sticking with them, you know, hoping secretly for an incident. And actually, one did happen, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to get the lead on the last lap.
So now you've got front row again for race 3. What can you do?
Well, I'm going to try and get my start sorted. I think that's the main thing, and then we'll push through, see if we can take the lead and hold it.
Good stuff, well done. Well, Nick, welcome back to the podium, 3rd place, and that was pretty hard fought.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've actually been stood here, so I've had a lot of problems this year, but race car consultants have got the car fixed, and yeah, it was a good run today.
The car seems to be in good form this weekend so far.
Yeah, it's getting there. I mean, I was way behind Danny, but I didn't know he'd got a 10-second penalty either, so it was a bit of a bonus. So start 3rd in the last race and give it a shot. Of
course, you got David and Josh in front of you, so it could be a good start and maybe get into first couple of positions.
Well, if I can keep up with them, yeah, you know, I'll certainly give it a go anyway.
Great job, well done. Well, Jamie, another fantastic win in Class D, and you're getting one step closer to the title.
Yeah, keep getting these wins. That's what we want. I had to work for that one. John was catching me towards the end, and he was definitely faster on the sort of closing laps of that race. So I had to keep looking, driving by my mirrors. But luckily, he didn't go as far as having to defend, so it's good.
But did it look a good, clean, hard fight out there between you two?
Yeah, it was clean. There was no contact. There was, nothing. It was just clean racing. He got a slightly better start than me, but I managed to just get him down to the first corner. And then we sort of broke a bit of a gap. But the car dropped off sort of halfway through, and then we was fighting, and he was sort of closing. I could see him closing and closing. So he didn't quite get there.
So now you're possibly on for another hat trick.
We'll see. The weather could change anything between now and then, so let's see what happens.
Great job, well done again.
Thank you.
So now it's time for the 3rd and final race of the weekend for the BRSCC Fiesta Championship in Croft, and guess what? It's raining once again. These guys really are testing their wet weather skills out here this weekend. Should be pretty interesting with David Nye in the front row of the grid on pole position once more. Let's see if he can take win number 3 of the season here in race 3. Richard, over to you.
Thanks, Scott. Another wet one then with David Nye on pole from Josh Gollin, then Nick Sanderson and Danny Harrison, Sam Priest and Simon Horrobin ahead of Ryan Beck and Bradley Kent. Richard Dawson and Nathan Edwards complete the top 10, and it's Nat Gollin, Mark Falconbridge with Ryan Falconbridge and Jamie going on row 7. Lewis Kent, Lee Dendy Sadler, Jamie White and John Cooper next from Stuart Robbins and Jack Ewell. They're followed by Tom Hutchins and Penny Jones, Tim Bennett, Sean Banks row 12, Derek Robinson and Mark Falconbridge with Kieran White completing the grid. Jamie White, as mentioned, looking for a hat-trick. Decider really for Class C, David Nye and Josh Gollin with a win apiece. Class B, a win apiece for Chris Horn and Sean Banks so far. So everything is go here, and you can see Harrison slotting into 3rd place. David Nye gets a good start from Josh Gollin, so it's Nye in the blue, white, black and red car. Gollin looking round the outside line of Danny Harrison, and they're piling down to Clervaux once again. Hold on to your hats. And exemplary driving standards. Nathan Edwards goes a little bit wide but keeps it all pointing in the right direction. He's looking for grip there on the outside line, and in doing so trying to pass Richard Dawson, the Kidderminster racer. Lee Dendy Sadler looking up the inside line of Jamie going. That was a good start. I mean, when you think about it, we had a little bit of contact in race number 1. on the exit of Clervaux, inadvertent of course, but we've seen pretty much 3 decent starts here from this huge field. It is a big field because we've got all the classes together. Jamie Going's machine looking very battle-scarred. Nat Gollin is up ahead, the Caterham youngster, but David Nye out front now from Danny Harrison. So a good start as Bradley Kent in 44, who we saw very much involved in race number 1, up ahead of Nick Sanderson. And through the spray they come with the 11 car of Lee Dendy Sadler. On the outside line, I thought he was going for a pass. I think he's gone straight on and will hopefully rejoin as we rejoin the lead runners. Nye still out front. Danny Harrison is in second. So Josh Collin third. Danny Harrison here be looking to make it 3 different outright winners in this race. Bradley Kent, as I mentioned, moving up from the junior formula mid-year, so very well done to him, and he's certainly got the pace, as all these juniors are proving when they make the step up into the BRSCC Fiesta Senior Championship. More for you after the break. Welcome back to Croft Circuit. You're looking at Sam Priest working hard after a frustrating meeting for him, really, particularly the opening race. We've got some very good racing going on, though, in Class D. Stuart Roberts running second. He's chasing Jamie White in green, and in third place is Tom Hutchins. So the Class D's still led by Jamie White, looking for a hat-trick this weekend. And David Nye still leading the race here. Very, very wet conditions, and I've got to say driving standards has been really very, very good indeed, considering the conditions that we've had in races 1 and 3 here. So White leads them through Clervaux corner, down in towards Hawthorns. Robbins coming under a little bit of pressure now. You can see that 29 car closing up, and Hutchins trying to get on terms with Stuart Robbins. Good gaggle of cars all dicing behind as they go onto the back straight and head along towards Tower Corner. Here's the view from Tower, and we look along the straight. Jamie White, to be fair, not really under a huge amount of pressure at the moment. He's got the fastest lap of the racing class again, and the average speeds in these wet conditions over 70 miles an hour. The Class C cars, the fastest class on circuit, lapping around about 75 miles an hour average, and the Class D's just under that. So give you an idea of the speeds, and of course in the dry things would speed up significantly. Going through shot now, David Nye, the race leader. Second position, Danny Harrison. Third place is Josh Gollin. A little bit of a gap back to fourth position, and we see a flash of orange, and that of course indicates that it's one of the Specialised Motorsport cars. So things still closing up in Class D. Here is the view as they come along the main straight, though. And a dip back to the man who finished on the podium, the blue car, podium finisher in race 2. And that's Nick Sanderson. It's been a regular Nick Sanderson on the podium. He's had, by my reckoning, that would be, and I might be wrong, and Nick will correct me if I'm wrong, but I reckon 28 podia that he has had in the Fiesta Championship over the years. He's a 4-time Class C winner, second in the championship in 2009, and third in the championship back in 2007 and also 2008, and having a good dice here with Nathan Edwards, as you can see. So again, it underlines we've got so much talent in this championship once again this year, and great that drivers like Nick Sanderson have come back. He raced in the Scottish Fiestas as well for a good while, and you can see the gap back from those guys to the Class Ds. So the Zetec S 3-door 1600cc car for the Class Ds. It's the more modern shape, and you can, the great thing for me about the Fiesta Championship is that you've got potentially a ladder where you can come in, race one of the older cars on a budget, and see if you like the environment, as it were, and then move through. And drivers at the moment probably settling either Class D or Class C, depending on whether you want a more current car or the faster slightly older STs, which is what we're looking at now, with Jamie Going challenging down on Richard Dawson and coming under pressure as well from Nat Gollin, who looks around the outside line. So Nat trying to find some grip as they come through the chicane, and Jamie Going up ahead. I think that's Lewis Kent in the background as well, former championship leader. Lewis Kent comes from Whittam in Essex, has had, well, Lewis has had, that was his 4th retirement of the year in the preceding race, so he won't drop any scores. He wasn't going to anyway coming into this meeting, because he's had 3s on 5-10 points. And should have passed lead Andy Sadler in the championship standings. Now, as Gollin put a good move there on the outside line at Tower, teed him up for the inside into the Jim Clark S's, and I think has gone through and made up the position over Jamie Going in Jamie's battered 46 car. Jamie Going missed Cadwell Park and Silverstone. Blue flags being shown because Chris Horn is being passed, gobbled up by a fair number of drivers. Nick Sanderson still up ahead at the moment of Nathan Edwards. The race car consultant car still ahead of the Specialised Motorsport machine. Here's the battle then between Danny Harrison and Josh Gollin. Gollin looking to the outside line as they come down into Clervaux. Harrison's got it covered on the inside. Gollin again has to go onto the outside line. You feel maybe partly to get out of the spray, but he also is probably going to be looking for grip on different parts of the track as well. Harrison runs wide going into Hawthorns, and then up towards the chicane they go again. This the podium battle. It's allowing David Nye to get away, these two battling with each other. And Nye, there he is in the distance, heading into the left-hand kink, which takes them up towards Tower. Call it a back straight. As you look at it from the front straight, it does look straight, but as you can see from our camera at both ends of that, there is that little kink in it. Now the right-hander, and Gollin still chasing Danny Harrison. It looks like David Nye is settled enough here to make it 2 wins to Josh Gollin's 1 win in this race. But are we going to see a Nye and Gollin battle once again in the closing stages, as we've seen in the previous race? Making progress as well is Nat Gollin, who has now passed Richard Dawson. So here comes Chris Horn, Derek Robinson immediately in behind. A quick reminder that Chris is 3rd in the championship, Derek Robbins 2nd behind Sean Banks, and Banks with 2 wins so far this weekend. And now a change for 2nd position, because Josh Gollin is up into P2 once again. And Gollin, a very impressive set of results. It's going to be 4 podia in succession. Retirement before that, a 2nd place before that, 2 retirements before that, but really has arrived with a metaphoric bang in this championship, and firing off some good podium results, and indeed his first win in race number 1 of the weekend. But we're looking briefly there at Sam Priest in the 19 car chasing Simon Horrobin, and being chased by Bradley Kent in the 44, and the Essex Bodies car running very well indeed. Bradley Kent, as we said, moved up from the juniors for the last event of the season, the preceding event in August at Silverstone, and has improved his results here. He's Bradley Kent heading for a 3rd top 10 finish here in as many races. So a big improvement for Bradley Kent. A little bit of contact he was involved with in race number 1, but results wise you can't fault that at all from Bradley Kent. The others are going to be looking at what he's doing. Simon Horrobin in 14 ahead of Sam Priest, and then Bradley Kent. Bradley running in 6th position here, as Nathan Edwards again has a look to try and pass Nick Sanderson. So Bradley Kent on for a better finish once again here, maybe challenging for 5th place. So this is going to be a senior, it's tempting to call it a career best, but it's only his 2nd meeting, but 6th position so far, and looking for 5th. There is Nick Sanderson, still with Nathan Edwards in hot pursuit as we head towards the closing stages of this race, our 3rd race of the weekend, another triple header. It's been a very successful format this year, and I'm wondering whether the fact that we have seen a lot more different winners this year is down to the BRSCC's new championship, which by and large is 3 races per weekend. We also now, rather than the traditional 30 points for a race win, have 50 points for a win, as long as there are more than 6 or more starters in the race. So it's been a complete change around this year, and I suppose 3 races making it really longer race weekends, better value for money for all the drivers in all of the classes as well. It's been a lot for the BRSCC to organise, particularly when they have to split the grids. Here though is David Nye, race leader once again. It's going to be 2-1 maybe by the look of it to Nye. Golin in second place will have been delighted to have taken his first win in the competition, but David Nye here, very valuable championship points, and comes out of the hairpin for the last time. It's a good clean drive from him, fastest lap as well, and he's going to take the checkered flag. Here we come, and it's David Nye who takes the win. Watch for the checker, there it is. Nye crosses the line, takes it. Josh Golin in second. Danny Harrison bags another podium with third place, and Harrison putting a few DNFs behind him this year now. Golin and Nye, I think, give each other the thumbs up going down into Clairvaux on the slowing down lap. Danny Harrison third. Simon Horrobin takes fourth place from Sam Priest and Bradley Kent. Nick Sanderson is 7th from Nathan Edwards and Nat Golin. Richard Dawson in 10th. 11th goes to Lewis Kent from Lee Dendy Sadler and Jamie Going. Jamie White winning Class D. It's a hat-trick for him. Stuart Robbins next from Tom Hutchins. Ryan Falconbridge and John Cooper Chat-Yule. Mark Falconbridge in 20th. From Class B winner Sean Banks, Class A finisher Tim Bennett, Chris Horn, Derek Robinson and Kieran White next.
David's second win of the weekend, and this time in slightly better conditions.
It was interesting, slippery for the first, I don't know, 2-3 laps. Yeah, really good. Danny kept me honest, and it was interesting. Great fun out the back.
So now you go to Donington, gives you a good chance of possibly snatching the Class C title.
Well, that's something we can look for, but points make prizes, and that'd be great to get all the points, yeah.
Fantastic. See you there.
Thank you.
Sean, this is your second win of the weekend, but in the early stages, unless the cameras caught it or not, you almost threw it away.
Yeah, I did hit the tyre wall coming round into the back just before the chicane. Just lost it under braking, skidded out, hit the tyres, but managed to stay in front. So it was quite eventful. But even going down in the complex, back end all the way out, it's really greasy out there. Managed to hold it. So yeah, done really well. So really pleased with the weekend. So a bit gutted about the first race. My clutch went, so not being big-headed, but I could have had 3, but never mind.
The penultimate meeting of the season ends for the Fiesta Championship, and it's certainly been a little less frantic than in recent rounds, but the racing's been superb, and despite the rain, it hasn't put off any of the drivers, putting on a superb show here in North Yorkshire. So now, all that remains to be seen is to who takes the title in all 4 individual classes and the overall crown, because somebody is going to get that coveted BTCC test drive. The question is, who's it going to be? Join us at Donington Park on the National Circuit in October to find out exactly who's going to take the #1 spot. Till then, bye for now.